It's not too often you will have the opportunity to roll a ball down a lane with the chance of winning $200,000. Prize money hasn't exactly increased in bowling, and huge rewards for perfect games don't tend to be anywhere near as frequent, mainly because there are so many more 300 games bowled. Today we're going to look back at a time where there was a staggering amount of money up for grabs if somebody managed to bowl a perfect 300 game on TV. The year was 1994 and it was the True Value Open, and aside from the traditional prize fund, there was also an additional $200,000 bonus if anyone happened to bowl a 300 game, which was double the normal amount of $100,000. One player gave himself the opportunity to win this incredible prize, but we'll get onto that shortly as that moment occurs in the title match. So let's just look at the other matches first and find out what happened. The 5 players on the telecast were David Ozio, Eugene McCune, Brian Goebel, Randy Peterson and number 1 seed Norm Duke. And just look at the numbers that Norm put up at this tournament. His round 3 score set a new record, beating Earl Anthony's record, and he also set the 42 game record too. Match 1 featured David Ozio versus a young Eugene McCune. McCune isn't bowling the shot we've often seen him dominate with and has a much lower speed as he's elected to hook the ball. It was a strike to start the match for him and then a 10 pin that wobbled, and David Ozio needed a couple of shots to get lined up after going Brooklyn, through the nose and then high for a trip 4. McCune doubled and then Ozio responded with 2 more strikes of his own. McCune then struck twice more for a 4-bagger, but then Ozio didn't make a great shot in the 6th going high, leaving the 3-6-10. He then missed it after the ball slid past the 3-pin, and this gave McCune a 27-pin lead. Unfortunately, the rest of this match was cut off because of an ABC special news report, but it was McCune that would prevail with a final score of 248 to 231. Match 2 saw Brian Goebel come in to face McCune, and Goebel had an open frame in the first after going through the nose and then chopping the 3-6-9-10, but he did respond with a much better shot in the second for a strike. McCune struck in the first and his second shot didn't look too bad, but perhaps this was a sign that the lanes had transitioned as the ball took off and he left the big 4. His very next shot did pretty much the same thing, and he was fortunate not to leave another split. So clearly McCune had to make the adjustment now. Goebel made it a double, but the next shot looked quite soft and he left the 3-6-7-10, but did manage to make the spare, which was pretty crucial at this point in the match. McCune then responded very well after 2 bad frames and threw a double. I'm sure he would have made an adjustment here, and if he did, then it definitely paid off. Goebel doubled to keep things close, but then McCune had an absolute disaster, leaving another split, this time on the left lane. Goebel continued to strike and increased his advantage to 44, and he didn't stop there. He kept on striking all the way to the end of the 10th frame for a nice 254 game, and he advanced to match number 3 to meet Randy Peterson. In frame 1, Goebel seemed to go back to having an issue with the left lane leaving the big 4, but this could have just been a bit of an errant shot and perhaps it was a tad slow too. Randy struck in the first but was then way inside and crossed over to the Brooklyn side, leaving the 5-9 which he spared. Goebel got over his bad start with a strike on the right lane and then a brilliant trip 4 on the left. A strike for Randy and then a light hit on the left lane, but he couldn't get the 7-pin to fall. Goebel managed to make it 4 strikes in a row, and the pins definitely seemed to be falling for him as he went high yet again, tripping the 4 on the left lane. Randy then ran into trouble, leaving the 2-4-10, and suddenly it's down by 32. Goebel continued to strike, making it 6 in a row, and flew out to a 52-pin lead. Already this one is pretty much one-sided, although Goebel did have a slight scare when he left the Greek church in the 9th, but Randy was unable to strike out and Goebel had done enough to make it through to the championship match to face the number 1 seed Norm Duke. Given how well Norm had bowled all week, you would probably place him as the favourite, but as we all know too well, in these one-game matches anything can happen, and Goebel has had 2 games to get a really good feel of the lanes. Now, normally when I do these breakdowns, I discuss key shots and talk about what's going on with the players, etc. But this championship match is absolutely incredible. So I don't want to take away how good it is by talking over it. So I'm just going to show you the main highlights first so you can sit back and enjoy this match, and then at the end we'll briefly analyse the match. All I will say before we start is this: just keep in mind that a perfect game in this match will result in a $200,000 bonus.
Dead even. This is the championship game. It's all on the line. One game.
And the first time he started with a strike. He had 2 opens in his previous 2 games. Like he never quit bowling last night, though. Where he shot at 299.
He had 3 300s and 2 299s, and look at this style, a 6.5 step delivery. Look at those eyes riveted. The key, watch him pull that left arm back as the right shoulder comes through and stays directly underneath the ball, solid on balance at the line. Look at those stats. Right now, he's just even with 9 frames left in the tournament. Goes straight across lane.
Pulled
out solid in the pocket for 3 in a row. In position. Gets an advantage because there's just less room for error and less bounce on the ball.
Look at that.
The 10 pin can cut the lead to 10.
Okay. Sorry, he had a spare in the second frame. Nothing like a double whammy. It's like the easiest thing in the world to do. Now he needs 4. For the University of Kansas graduate, Jerry Thompson of True Value is right over the shoulder on the right of your screen. He's marketing director of True Value.
I'll tell you what, he must have slipped in his approach. The guy is so strong, Chris, you won't believe it, at 5 feet 5. Just took his time. This is so hard to do. I tell you what, to be committed to a shot and then quit. He was off a little bit here, took a little bit of time. Remember, he crosses over the foul line, but it is not a foul if you don't release the ball. The one.
Oil on my shoe.
See, Chris, that's exactly what he said. Right. He has oil on my shoe.
Both heels off the approach before he starts.
But it's not over. Duke's still in it.
And Karen will be married January 2nd. just one. O-N-E.
Well, I don't even know where to start. Norm bowled a 280 game and lost. I thought I'd seen it all when I did a breakdown about the time Johnny Petraglia lost with a 279 game against Bob Learn Jr.'s 300, but this 280 game holds the PBA record for the highest losing single game score. There's absolutely nothing else Norm could have done in this match. For Goebel, he would have been delighted with his win after coming in as the 5 seed. But he had a chance to win $200,000 and unfortunately he just didn't make a good shot. But I can't blame him for that at all, because if I was in that situation, I doubt I could even stand up and get the ball down the lane with that much riding on that one shot. Even without the huge bonus, bowling a 300 on TV, especially in those days, was an incredible feat, so there was so much pressure on him. Goebel actually ended up winning 4 titles in the 1994 season and cashed a career high of just over $170,000, but oddly enough, it was his opponent in this match, Norm Duke, that beat him for PBA Player of the Year honours. Norm himself managed to win 5 titles in that same year. So there's not too much else that I can say about this incredible match because I really am quite lost for words. That 280 game from Norm just showed you how well he was bowling throughout this whole tournament, and really it's just incredible that he ended up losing after bowling that well. But unfortunately, that is the game of bowling. But what a match, what a telecast, and this has to be up there with one of my favourite telecasts of all time. And that is going to bring us to an end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this breakdown and you enjoyed watching through the title match. As always, I'd love to hear from you all in the comment section below. So do let me know what your highest game is that you've bowled and lost with in a head-to-head match. Let me know in the comment section below, and if you've yet to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it if you just click the subscribe button below if you've enjoyed what you've seen today. And as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.